Hey there, welcome to Subpar Stitches. My name is Hillary and this is my Flosstube channel. If you are new here, so am I. This is only like my third Flosstube, so I'm still kind of learning the lay of the land, so to speak. But I really like to stitch more unusual or kind of like weirdo patterns, and I'm getting into like Quakers and things like that. I'm someone who I've stitched for like 12 years at this point, but I've always been a monogamous stitcher, and I'm finally branching out into the world of having multiple whips at one time. And I feel like today I really have that to show you because I've got a couple finishes, some whips, some new starts, and a little bit of haul. So if you are interested, please subscribe and stay tuned because I have a lot of fun stuff to show you. So I'm actually filming this a day earlier than I usually would, and I say usually, but this is, like I said, my third Flosstube. But I've been filming on Fridays and then posting it on Saturday. Today's Thursday because this weekend I'm going out of town. I'm going to Tinley Park, which is near Chicago, for a nail polish expo, because if you didn't know, I'm also running a nail polish channel. It's Mediocre Manny's. I will link that down below. But I will probably not get a ton of stitching done this weekend because I'll be buying nail polish. So, but I do have a little bit of a travel stitch, so I'll show that too. So let's start with my finished objects first. I don't have any FFOs. I take a while to like FFO stuff. I can finish stuff, but like putting it in a frame or like making it into something takes a while. And a lot of the stuff that I want to FFO, I need a few pieces to fully do that, and I'll explain what I mean by that. So first, I have the Starry Night by Van Gogh mini art. This is part of a larger project that I'm doing. So I'm doing a ton of these mini art projects, and then I'm gonna go thrifting and find a bunch of tiny frames and probably spray paint them gold or, you know, some kind of metallic spray paint, and then make a mini gallery wall in my apartment. And so I think this is the 7th or 8th one that I finished, and I don't know how many I'm gonna make. Probably just gonna make them until I can't make them anymore. I get sick of them, and then I will FFO all of them. And this has not been washed or ironed, but it's itty bitty, so you probably can't even tell. But I like to wash and iron in batches, so I wait till I have like a handful of projects and then I do that. Because I just don't, it's a hassle to do it. I don't know. So I will wash and iron this eventually. And I'm just doing these on 18 count white Aida. I don't know what brand Aida it is, but I don't think anybody really cares when it's plain white Aida, you know? And the patterns, I think the store I got these from on Etsy is called like the Pattern Shop or something like that. They had a really big bundle of patterns, and I just bought the huge bundle, so I have like an endless supply of mini art patterns. This is Enchanted Forest 1 by Una Buena Pieza on Etsy. This is actually a start and a finish since I believe I started it on like July 1st and then I finished it on the 6th or the 7th. This is a series of 3 patterns, so I'm gonna stitch up the other 2. And then I'm either gonna try and find like a triptych frame, like one of those like 3 fold out ones, and frame them in that, or I'll just make my own, because honestly, how hard can it be to buy 3 of the exact same frame and then just screw a hinge on to those? I mean, famous last words, right? But so with this, it's on 14 count black Aida, and I did all the called for DMCs except the ghosts. I think were like a light blue, like a super light, almost white blue. But I swapped it out for the glow-in-the-dark DMC light effects. I can't remember the number, but it's the only one they have that glows in the dark. And I gotta say, I learned a lot while stitching with that because it's not like hard, but it's hard to make your stitches look nice and neat. So for the second one, when I do Enchanted Forest number 2, I'm going to be a lot more careful when stitching the ghosts. The other thing is I messed up somewhere in this area and I offset everything by 1 stitch to the left, to the right. And by the time I noticed, I had finished this entire leaf and I didn't want to frog everything and start over. So I just modified it a little bit. I took some stitches out. I don't think you can really tell. I don't think that anybody would notice, but I also am not sure. So once I stitch the other two, we'll see if in comparison it's super noticeable. But this was a quick stitch. It was super cute to stitch up. And I love the glow-in-the-dark ghosts. Like I'm so excited to get all 3 of them done, because this is like the mid-sized one, and then Enchanted Forest 2 is like really short, and then Enchanted Forest 3 is a lot taller. And so I just think they're gonna look so cute together in like a trifold frame. So then let's get into the whips and the new start. So I have 2 regular whips to show you. So you've already, I'm pretty sure, seen both of these at this point. So the first one I have is the Long Dog Samplers Pavane for these times. I will pop up on the screen where I was last time, and then this is where I'm at now. So I'm stitching this in hand because I don't know why. I just felt like the urge to do that. And it's going well so far. I think it's not as hard as I thought it was going to be. My initial thought was I was going to stitch the entire border and then I was going to fill it in. And then I decided, because this was my first time stitching on even weave. And so I was kind of like, right, because this is 28 count Springfield Sage Lugana. And I was kind of having a hard time counting the black across like such a long distance, because it's just, after a minute, your eyes are kind of like, oh my God, I can't perceive anything anymore. And so I was like, let me just stitch to where I'm pretty sure is the end of the border here and to the bottom as well. And then by the time I stitch the motifs inside and get to the bottom, if I'm off, I won't have to frog the entire like bottom and left-hand side of the piece. And thank God I had the forethought to know that I was going to screw this up, because the Long Dog Sampler patterns, this is a working copy, and I'm not going to show you guys because, you know, you can't do that. But on the pages, there's an overlap, and it like highlights where the overlap is. And I have worked patterns with overlaps before. I don't know why I screwed this up, but for some reason, I didn't count the stitches on either of the pages. So I just like completely was like pretending like the overlap wasn't even there. So I did miscount it. So I do have like, I think 10 stitches less on this end and at the bottom, or maybe a little bit more at the bottom. I don't know. But thank God I didn't stitch the outer edge, because that is such an easy fix at this point. I wondered too, because when I counted the stitches across, it was like 10 less than what they say on the pattern. So I should have known right then and there. I was like, they don't know what they're doing. Why would they put that it's, because it says on the pattern that it's 199 by 235 stitches. And I wrote down that it's actually 189 by 225 because I just didn't count the overlap. But this is my first like big sampler like this. And I wasn't sure how I was going to like it, because I'm not super into this type of design, but the process of stitching it has made me start to really enjoy these types of designs. And seeing it on the paper, like this is just the cover, this is my working copy. Seeing it on the paper, I'm like, yeah, it's cute, it's pretty. I picked this one more for the quote than anything. It says, turn your face to the sun and the shadows fall behind you. And it felt really uplifting, and I was like, that's something that I need to hear sometimes. I didn't expect to enjoy watching it come together as much as I do, because when you're like stitching all this black, it feels really nebulous and you're just kind of like, okay, it's black, it's black. And then when you kind of take a step back and you look at it and you can see the shapes being formed by black, you're like, wow, that's really cool. So I'm absolutely loving this. This is such an experience, and I can't wait to do more like this and play with the fabric and maybe like different threads, maybe over dyed, maybe variegated. This is just my first experience with it, so I wanted to go pretty plain. And I also have a cone of DMC 310, so gotta use it for something. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I want to finish page 1 by the end of the month, and I think I can do that in like 2 or 3 more stitching sessions. So it's just like part of a flower pot here, I believe, or like the flowers that are in the pot. And I'm keeping that, like, I don't have any themes for my bags. Most of my bags are like spooky, but I made all my bags so far and they're not very good, but I learned a lot and I'm gonna make more soon. So I'm keeping that in my skull with like the gray and the gold on the back here. The other whip that I have is the Epic Pokemon Cross Stitch by Lord Libiden, I think is how you say it. And this is Generation 1, and I just keep this on the scroll at all times. I'm not taking it off because I hate putting stuff on the scroll frame. It's so annoying. I don't know why, it's just annoying. But this is a project I started on January 1st. This is where I'm at. Since the last time you guys saw it, I can't remember what it looked like, but I do know for sure I stitched the Ditto here, or like most of the Ditto. And then I think I finished all of the Lapras's head. And my goal is to finish page 3 by the end of the month, which I don't think I have that much left because that's like this section here. So I think I can do it. Just depends on, because I've got, like I said, I'm going out of town this weekend and then I have a vacation in 2 weeks. So if I'm dedicated, I can do it. But this project, this is the one that I've been monogamous on for the longest time. Well, for like 5 months. And before this, I had a huge full coverage piece that I was monogamous on. And I found that splitting my time between this and other littler projects actually makes me feel more motivated to work on this. Whereas before it felt like sometimes I really loved doing it and then sometimes it would feel like kind of a slog. So I am so excited, and it's fun to watch each new Pokemon start to form as I go. I try not to look at people's finished projects of this because I kind of, like, I don't remember the layout and I want to be surprised as each new Pokemon comes up. So I'm going to do this probably for the next 2 years, to be quite honest. And that's on 18 count White Ada as well. Then I have 4 new starts. So the first one, it's actually almost done. Like, I feel like one more like brief stitching session I could finish this in. This is Water Lilies by Monet, and this is part of my mini arts that I'm doing. This is one that I've just been working on during my lunch hour at work on the days that I'm in office. I'm only in office 3 days a week. I get an hour-long lunch, but I also have to eat my lunch during that time. So maybe 40-ish minutes a day, 3 times a week is how much I've really gotten to work on this. But as you can see, there's very little left. I could probably bang this out tonight if I have time, and then I'll start a new one next week. This one, I haven't enjoyed stitching on this one as much as I have the other little arts that I've done because there's a lot of gray, and you can't even really tell, but there are 3 different grays on this, but they're so close in tone, they really just blend together. I like these pops of color, but they're very springy and, you know, it's like the dead of summer. So it's kind of like, but I do like the way it looks. But yeah, these little like mini full coverages, they're kind of a nice time killer. And I've been keeping that in my little iguana watermelon bag that I made with green interior. Okay, this next one, I have been dying to start ever since I saw Cam the Stitcher talk about this on her channel. This is from the Snowman Collector series by Cottage Garden Samplings, and this is the clown. And as you can see, I've started the border. I've got the top 2 big tops done, and one little motif here, one little motif here, and then I started the snowball because it's like a snowman clown juggling snowballs. I'm so excited to start stitching the clown. But I'm like, I gotta do all the other stuff first. I want to save the clown for last because I'm so pumped. So I'm stitching this on, let's see, 36 count Heartland Edinburgh linen. The called for is 36 count chocolate milk linen by Fabrics by Stephanie. I was gonna do this on the called for, like there's no reason really that I chose something else, except that they didn't sell the called for on 123 Stitch, or I couldn't find it there. And when I looked it up, it was like, I think it said there's like a 4 to 6 week turnaround on the hand-dyed fabric. And I was like, I don't want to wait that long. So I went back to 123 Stitch and I just found something that it's not like, this is much lighter than the called for, but I I think it's fine. I think it looks good. I think that the only problem I see is some of the lighter colors don't pop the same way as they would against the chocolate milk, but I need to take this out of the hoop because I'm not going to stitch on it for a few days, so I would like to take it out, but I just forgot to do that. I'm doing the called for DMCs, and then there are 2 overdyes in this, and they are by Weeks Dye Works, and I subbed those out for a different brand. I can't remember the name of the brand. I'll pop it on the screen. I just can't remember, but I just picked 2 that looked similar enough, and I think that they look really pretty. If you can see here, it's like a deep kind of mahogany red and then a really beautiful orange. I'm so excited to do the orange because this is like the clown's hair and it's on his shoes. And they're overdyed, so you can see some really slight kind of variegation in it, but it's not like super apparent. It's quite subtle, and I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about that because, you know, overdyed stuff is way more, not way more, but it's more expensive than straight DMC. But I do look at it on the linen and I feel like it looks pretty rustic and cute. Here's the other thing though. This is my first experience stitching on linen. It's it's a learning curve. I had to pull out and re-stitch this little motif here, this little trapeze artist, several times because I just kept miscounting. I got to get better at counting on the linen. Once I get going, it's okay, but like the first like 20 minutes of stitching, I'm just like, I don't know how to count. I just don't know how to count. But yeah, I'll probably stitch others in this series. But even though the clown is the second one, I had to start with the clown because it's just so funny. And I have that in my little stars, and then it's got like black on the inside bag. I also started these cat and owl ornaments by, what is it, Owl Forest Embroidery, I think. These were a free pattern on their website. They have a ton of really high quality, really cute, really fun free patterns. I bought some of this like perforated paper to stitch on because I want to make them into ornaments. I've never stitched on perforated paper before. There's a lot of like new stuff to me that I've seen it, I've just never used it. And it's a weird experience because I'm just afraid, like, I'm so scared I'm going to rip it. It kind of smells like a wet dog. And this is Mill Hill brand, so it's not like I bought like a low quality brand, but I'm going to stitch all of them and then cut them out and, you know, turn them into ornaments. I'm doing most of the called fors. The only thing I'm changing is they're all wearing like these little winter coats, and they have like fur or like a white like kind of collar, and where it buttons up is white as well. And I'm swapping that out for the étoile in, what is it, B5200, I think. And just kind of making it a little sparkly, give it a little pop. I thought that would be cute. And there are 3 owls and 3 cats, and they all have like a little Christmas tree and like Santa's bag type stuff. They're going to be really cute, and I feel like I can finish these before Christmas and get them like FFO'd and hang them on my tree this year. So that'll be fun. And I'm keeping that in this, it's got like golden or rose gold moths, and then the inside, I don't know if you can see, but it's like crystal balls and stuff like that. My last new start is on this plastic, it's like plastic canvas, I guess. And I'm making magnets. I got this pattern like 10 million years ago on DeviantArt. And like, I don't know how to, like, I'll flash it really quick. It's just like little pixel guys. And I got the Next Generation, and then I have 2 original series ones. So I thought I would make all the Next Generation ones on this plastic canvas, put it on magnets, and then give them to my dad because he and I used to watch the Next Generation together. I started Picard, and I've gotten his forehead, and that's it. That's all the progress I made. That was from one stitching session on my lunch. So, and it's hard to see it against this white, and like my ring light is fully blowing it out. It doesn't give you any called for, so I just kind of picked colors from my DMC stash, and I'm kind of like kind of winging it, and as I go, like if something doesn't look right, I'll try again. Some of these, as I put them on the card, I realize like, those aren't the right colors. So as I get to them, I will swap them back out. But it's just a fun, quick, easy little project. And that's in my little bats bag that has all these fun little Halloween-y kind of motifs in it. Oh, I also made little Ort pouches for all my bags, and I use the remnants of the other bags. I got this, like, it's like a cam snap where you can put snaps on stuff, and then I can just, you know, put Orts in there. It's been nice. I don't know. It's just another sewing project I can help teach myself how to sew. So that was all of my whips and my new start. So let's talk about some haul, and then I will talk to you guys about plans, and then I guess we'll be done. Oh, those flosses were Gentle Arts that I haven't in my haul because that was part of my haul. So first I went on to 123 Stitch and I bought like a small variety of things. I needed some like 18 count black Aida, which that's already in like projects bags and stuff like that. And I bought that perforated paper that you saw in the cat and owl ornaments, but then I bought the linen that I used for the snowman collector. But I wasn't sure if I was going to want to use such a busy linen, and it's not even that busy, but I wasn't sure if I was going to be happy with it. So I also bought this. This is 36 count light mocha Edinburgh linen by Zweigart, and I just bought this as kind of like a backup just in case, and I ended up liking the linen that I bought, so I just threw this into stash because this will definitely come in handy elsewhere. It seems like it's a very standard, easy to use color, so I just threw that into my stash. I picked up a bottle of Fray Check from Joann's just because I love to stitch in hand. It's my favorite way to stitch. I don't know why. It's just, I hate dealing with hoops and frames, and it's just, I'm always afraid I'm going to damage my stitches or my fabric because I just don't know how rough or gentle to be. So I just feel like this is going to solve all my fraying issues. I haven't used it yet. Obviously, I haven't even opened the plastic off, but you know. I joined 2 Patreons. So I joined Stitch Sprouts Patreon, and I did the $10 tier because not only do you get access to free monthly patterns, but once a month you also get to choose any pattern from her shop and get that for free. And I have a ton of Stitch Sprouts patterns on my Etsy favorites list, so I was like, I'm gonna buy these anyways. I might as well join the tier where I get a free pattern every month so I can slowly add to my collection. So that's what I did. And then I also joined the Witchy Stitchers Patreon because she had a nostalgic Ouija board pattern that it pushed me over the edge. I had to have it. And it's like this kind of like Lisa Frank rainbow looking Ouija board. And then this month she also released these like planchettes that you can make that go with the board. So I'm excited to stitch those up. And then the other night when I was going to bed, I was being a total iPad baby and I wanted to fall asleep while watching some Flosstube, and I put on Kitschy Whip's most recent video, and she showed this pattern that she had by, what is this? It's the Jalen Platinum Collection, and she had this pattern. It's a wizard, and I was like falling asleep at this point, and she, like, you know, it was like midnight and I was supposed to go to work the next morning, so I was like kind of dozing off, and she was talking about these patterns that this pattern she had, and she said it was like a wizard, and I had my eyes closed at that point, and I was kind of like, okay, whatever, it's not for me, because I don't usually get into fantasy stuff. I wish I could get into fantasy, but man, if your book has a map at the front, I'm not reading it. Like, I don't even look at maps in real life. What makes you think I'm going to look at your fake map, first of all? But I'm just not a fantasy girl. I want to be. There's so many cool fantasy series that people talk about that I'm like, I wish I could get into that. But for some reason, I just have a hard time following fantasy. I love the Lord of the Rings movies, and I read the first book in the Discworld series, and I loved that, and I would love to read more, but typically fantasy designs and motifs are not my thing. But she was going on and on about how like funny this pattern was. And so I opened my eyes and I saw this guy, and it's this goofy, like the colors are just so like 80s to me. Not that I would know, I wasn't alive then, but and he's like sitting on a double rainbow. Like this pattern is insane. And then it's a kit, which I don't typically, I've never really bought a kit. But it comes with everything you need. It's got beads. It's on black Aida. And it's just, I'm dying to stitch this. Like, it's so funny. I don't know when I'm going to start this, but I just cannot wait. It says the finished size is 14 by 21 inches. So he's a big boy. And it's got 14 count Aida, 6 strand cotton floss, blending filament, metallic thread, beads, a needle threader, a floss sorter, a couple needles, a color graph, and trilingual instructions. So this is gonna get stitched and it's gonna go on my wall because it's so funny. Oh, I also bought some floss. So these are from Fat Quarter Shop, and these are the quote-unquote discontinued DMCs. Not all of them. There's like 3 left that I couldn't find anywhere. But I have all of the bobbins from Pip and Chip, and I wanted the discontinued DMC. So I found these on Fat Quarter Shop. I just got to find like the last 2 or 3 that I need. And they shipped really fast. Like I ordered them and got them like 1 or 2 days later. So that was impressive. Then for the 4th of July, DMC was having a sale. It was 30% off. And so I was like, well, let me just buy all of the everything. And I ordered the full set of Coloris, the full set of variegated, the full set of satins, and the full set of light effects. And they only shipped me 2 things and then refunded me my money. And I was like, I wanted the stuff. Like, I wanted the things. Don't refund me my money. Give me my stuff. But I got all the Coloris. So I have 24 skeins of Coloris. And then I got the 35 skeins of light effects. So like all the metallics and fluorescence and stuff like that. I guess they sold out of the satins and the variegated. So I don't know if they're going to bring those back into stock and I can buy them then or what, but they kicked my money back. I'm devastated, but I'll get them eventually. So that's everything that I bought. I tried to join a fabric of the month and floss of the month club, and I sent in like my application for it, and they're supposed to send me a invoice, but I don't know how all that works yet. So I'm just waiting to see if they actually do, because I struggle to buy fabric, you know, and I want to have stash so that I can just be inspired by that. But like buying fabric without purpose, I have a hard time for doing, and I like, you don't see it in person, so it's hard. So I just need somebody to send me fabric and I'll figure it out from there. So next is plans. So I'm going to continue stitching on Pokemon. I want to finish page 3 by the end of the month, and I also want to finish the rest of page 1 of Pavane if I can. But my goal for this month was only to finish half of the first page, which I've already done, so I'm not super worried. I need to finish the Monet mini art, and then that will put me at 2 mini arts for the month, which is my goal. And I want to finish 2 of the Star Trek magnets, and I've already gotten a good like 3rd or maybe a 4th of the first one, so that shouldn't be too bad. And I want to finish that little owl ornament, because I figure if I do 1 a month at a minimum, then I will have them all done by Christmas. And I told you guys that this is a series of 3. So I have the second one all kitted up in this bag here. I feel like this bag was perfect for, I don't have like enough bags or enough like diversity in the fabric of my bags to really match them up with what's in them. But this one I felt like I did a good job, and I just have all the floss here for all 3 of them. It's a tangled disaster, as you can see. I don't know what happened there, but it's fine. I'll survive. I'll get it untangled, or maybe I'll just make it worse. Who knows? But yeah, I'd like to start that second one, and it's, like I said, half the size or so of this one, so that one should stitch up really quickly, and I'll have the whole, like, 3 series done in no time. Like I said, we're going to Chicago/Tinley Park this weekend for a nail polish expo. We're starting the drive tomorrow, and I guess we're finishing the drive tomorrow. It's like a 4-hour drive from Detroit Metro to Chicago. And so I have a project to, when I'm not the one driving, to work on, and this is the Frimp, and I will pop the pattern up here. This is a free pattern that I got online, and I just thought it was so funny. It's like a Furby shrimp, and I thought I would get a little bit of a start on it on the drive there, on the drive back, and maybe if I have some downtime in the hotel at any point, but I don't know if I will. It's going to be a really busy weekend, but I have all the colors. It's just DMC on 18 count black Ada, and I'm just going to stitch it in a hoop. I might even finish it in a hoop. We'll see. I also kitted up the nostalgic Ouija that I was telling you about earlier. It's all DMC, and like these colors, like look at all these colors together. They're so much fun. It's like just like the pastel rainbow of your dreams, and I'm stitching it on 14 count black Ada. And the reason I'm doing 14 count is because I want this to be quite large, and then I will probably finish it with, like, I'll put some like interfacing in between it, and then I'll find a cool fabric to sew to the back of it, and then I'll make the planchette, and I want it to be kind of like a cool decoration piece. And so I wanted it to be kind of big and like look usable. Obviously it's not going to be usable because it's fabric, and like I'm going to stitch the planchette on plastic canvas, but I just feel like it's going to look really cool sitting out, especially around like Halloween time. And then the last thing that I kitted up for this month that I want to start this month is this pattern that I bought like probably a year or two ago. I think I bought this. Maybe it was a free pattern. I actually don't remember now. It's been a while. And it's Only Judy Can Judge Me. It's this Judge Judy pattern. And I picked out this 18 count ivory Ada that I had in my stash. Don't remember where or when or why I bought this, because I don't really love ivory. Like, it's just not my thing. But I feel like it works well with the colors in this pattern. I don't know. I just thought it was going to look good together. So I'm going to stitch that, and then I'll either frame it or make a goofy little pillow from it. I'm not sure. But I loved watching Judge Judy with my grandma as a kid. So I thought this was a really funny pattern. I also am going to make more project bags, because this is the last project I kitted up, and I had to use one of these crappy Amazon bags that I have. I have a bunch more fabric just waiting to be ironed and cut and turned into bags, and I feel like I've learned a lot from the first 9 or 10 bags that I made, so those bags are going to, hopefully, those bags are going to look better than the ones I just showed you. So yeah, that is everything. I am on a journey of new starts. I just want to start everything. I want to stitch a lot more things. I'm having so much fun stitching on a diverse range of projects. I used to only stitch on one, and so now it's nice to have couple full coverage, you know, some older style patterns, stuff on linen, stuff on even weave, stuff on Ada, on a mix of colors and using different fibers. And I'm just branching out, and watching everybody on Flosstube has been so fun because I'm learning a lot. Despite having been in this hobby for 12 years, like I was just in the not online version of the hobby, so I didn't know there was all this stuff, and I'm excited to learn more as time goes by. So yeah, I cannot wait to see you guys again in 2 weeks and show you what my progress on my projects looks like. And that's going to be it from me. I will see you guys in a couple weeks. Bye.